This podcast is part of the Podcast Your Scene Network. Visit us at www.podcastyourscene.com.
You know, the local media has an agenda that they're going to serve. I don't know who's in charge of it or what it is, if it's like a headless monster.
Why? Is a question.
Walking backwards. Something sacred.
I don't know the names of the crew songs. Those
Running in
CDs you
circles.
Just pop in and let play.
Sea of Glass.
The flight and the fall.
I love Ozzy. I think he's the true definition of a rock star.
So keep off on your speakers.
Anybody else have any interesting stories they don't want on the show?
God, come after the fall.
Hey, this is John Lane from the thriving metropolis of Leechburg, Pennsylvania.
The Pennsylvania Rock Show, featuring the best unsigned rock that Pennsylvania has to offer. What's the story this week? Am I fucking your world? And I'm fucked up on my sick pill.
Let's go.
What's up, everyone? This is Bill, and you're tuned in to the Pennsylvania Rock Show, featuring the best unsigned rock and metal that Pennsylvania has to offer, right here on PARockShow.com, xrpradio.co.uk in the Highlands of Scotland, oldiesxl.com in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, roodaroo.radio.com in the beaches of San Diego, California, music from 412.com, both radio and video in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. In St. Louis, we have megarockradio.net and 107.1 FM KFGD. And I think I got everybody. Oh, except myself, buildascene.com/radio. This is the Pennsylvania Rock Show, episode number 667. And with me tonight is Christian Montgomery from Christian Montgomery and the Winter Kill Band. What's up,
going
Christian?
on?
So, I've been fighting all kinds of sickness lately. Sore throat today. I'm going to power through it.
I'm with you.
Sometimes that's what happens when you teach little kids.
Yeah. I can imagine.
So you're here tonight to talk about I'm going to say recent, but probably about 2 months ago, you released your album. Is it February?
Yep.
And is it Gypsy Girl? Did I get that right?
No, the name of the first single was Gypsy Girl.
Okay.
But the name of the album is Lower County Outlaw. I recorded it at the studio at Strawberry Fields in Manchester, Vermont, with this guy Andrew Koss. He was Alicia Keys and John Legend's producer prior to working with me. So it was an interesting experience. I got to play with toys that I usually didn't have accessible to me. The studio was a beautiful place. There's an actual artist residence right next to the studio where you can live and work. So it's a very cool place.
So tell me a little bit about the recording process, since you were talking about the studio. Like, did you go in with the songs ready? Did anything change while you were there? Like, how did it go?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So I went in with 6 songs, and not really knowing Andrew very well. I was introduced to him through a friend, and he's told Andrew that he thought that I would be a good project for him. And we blew through 6 songs, and usually it's the kind of the same process where I go in with an acoustic guitar and I give them the beats per minute of how long the song, how fast the song's going to be or whatnot. And then From there, what usually happens is people start screaming out, "Oh, I hear this. Oh, wait." And so Andrew kind of just jumped right in, and we started acting like little kids. And we got the 6 songs done, and I told him that was all I could afford. And he said, "Well, if it's not a full length album, it's not eligible for a Grammy nomination." And I looked at him cross-eyed and said, "If you haven't read about me, I've never caught a break in my entire life, and people who are born into my class don't get nominated for Grammys." And but so he convinced me to do another 6 songs. We still haven't really worked out the payment yet, but so now we have a 12-song record. And so far, we released Gypsy Girl, and that kind of took off. And then we kind of followed that up with Lost in Memphis, about a song I wrote about meeting Johnny Cash in an airport. And
don't get into too much detail on that one, because I'm going to ask you about that later.
Yeah. So, and both of those songs have, the radio seems to have picked it up, and we're I suppose, being on my 4th album now, I would expect that the downward spiral would have begun by now, and I would be dying in a gutter somewhere. But the music's been really well received. I'm starting to get reviews with people saying we don't know who they sound like. Maybe they sound, like something different. And so it's been cool. And we've just been running with it. We played for a pretty packed house last night in Rutland, Vermont. And we're heading to upstate New York tomorrow. So we're getting busy.
Very cool. You know what I forgot to do? Again, this is still
record?
relative. No, I did do that.
Okay.
I forgot to mention the 2 tracks that everybody heard at the beginning of the radio and podcast show. So the first one you heard was a brand new song from Kurt Ziegler called "Get It Right," and then another new song to the show from Great American Racer. It's called "Porches." So that was what we led in with. I wanted to make sure that the bands get their name heard. So, all right, now back to our conversation. So, like you said, it's your 4th album.
Yep.
And clearly, this one being recorded in Strawberry Fields and with the producer, that seems to me like you, the fact that you wanted to talk about that this is probably the first one that went that route.
Well, the first 3 records I recorded at Ultrasound Studios in Hanover with this gentleman named Joe Clapp, and Joe played guitar. He's a multi-instrumentalist, and it was very comfortable. I've known Joe my whole life. He's one of the most talented people I've ever met. He picks up any instrument and he just writes hits. This was, I was just talking to a journalist the other day, and he said, "Gosh, it seems like this guy really pushed you to not necessarily made me uncomfortable, but he definitely he threw different instruments at me that I wasn't used to working with. This album has a lot of keys, which I've had keyboards on other records, but not as like a staple instrument. I've always been a more guitars guy, and a lot of layered vocals, and this was very performance oriented. I can't tell you how many times Andrew said, "Can you give me one more of those? Can you give me one more of those? Can you give me one more of those?" So it was definitely, the equipment that we got to use, so it was all state of the art stuff, and He has a very nice studio. It really is. I mean, when they say state of the art, it's a state of the art studio, from the architecture of the building to the equipment. So, and the studio musicians were all people that he had gone to Berkeley with, and so he kind of spared no expense, and you'll hear it in the quality of the songs. It's just I still listen to them. It's only been a couple of weeks old, really, and I still hear something different every time I listen to it. And I think that was kind of Andrew's plan, was to snuck all this stuff in there, So,
I tell you what, Christian, what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick break. I'm going to play the song, and we'll talk about it when we come back from the break. I'm going to play two tracks. We're going to play the Jeremy Edge Project Sunrise, and we're going to follow that with Christian Montgomery and the Winter Kill Band, Lost in Memphis, and we'll come back and talk about it. Those of you on the video side, you're going to see something a little different than that, but we'll be right back.
The Pennsylvania Rock Show live Mondays on Music from the 412. Join host
or not. Let me try that again.
For music and exclusive interviews with the best unsigned bands Pennsylvania has to offer. Featuring the best variety of rock and metal with new shows every week. Plus, you can catch replays every Saturday morning and stream us on the radio. Want to get your band featured in an upcoming episode? Visit Build the Scene online for submissions and additional information. Want to listen to all your favorite artists on Music from the 412? Check out our new radio station. Listen to Music from the 412 radio online or stream to your favorite smart device. Our station offers variety like no other, playing tracks from original, local, and national artists. Plus, you can submit your own original music for a chance to be featured on our 24/7 station. All music, all the time. Tune in to Music from the 412 radio today.
This live thing is killing me, Christian. Okay. So let me try that again. I have some tickets to give away. Only one person applied this week. So I'm going to make sure that you guys know what shows are coming up that you can take a chance on. And it's really easy. You just go to musicfrom412.com, click on contest, choose the show you want to go to. You share it, tag Music from the 412, tag Dressy Entertainment, and send us your email. And the only reason you send us our email is so that if you win, Dressy Entertainment can email your tickets. It's really that simple. Then you come here on PA Rock Show on Monday and find out if you won. So the winner of the tickets to Wigwam with Dying Breed and the Cheats is Jeff Brooks. He'll be receiving his tickets probably tonight or early tomorrow morning. And then what we have coming up in the ticket giveaways, we have the Bacon Brothers with Jeff Ferrari. That show is at Jurgles on April 28th. And then May 7th, we have Lita Ford with Modern Fossils and A Common Crown on May 7th. On May 9th, we have the Drive-By Truckers. We also have, let's see, on the 17th, Rick Wachowski and Joe Grushecki at Jurgles. And then on May 22nd, Ugly Kid Joe, who has not played in the States in a long time, is going to be playing. I believe that is also at Jurgles. So those are all shows that you can win 2 tickets to simply by sharing the post and sending us your email. And then I just spin this little wheel, and whoever's name it stops on, that's who's going to win the tickets. With that said, I'm going to bring Christian back in. We're going to talk to him a little bit more about his new release, Lower County Outlaw.
Everybody.
Thanks for pointing to your ears, so I knew I was muted.
Yeah, no worries. I got you.
So the title of the album, Lower County Outlaw, that makes me think of like outlaw rock, like Johnny Cash, who you mentioned in the song. So tell us a little bit about the track Lost in Memphis.
So it was kind of just a cool guitar riff that I was messing around with, and the lyrics happened. I had run into Johnny Cash in a airport in Tennessee, and he was somebody that was a staple in the majority of my family's musical library since I can remember. And so when I saw him, I kept kind of like moving seats closer and closer and closer, and totally stalked the guy. And I think I had to be in my mid-20s at the time. And I got to introduce myself, and I was like, hey, I'm Christian, and singer-songwriter. And he said, what are you doing? And I said, well, I've been asked to go record a song in Nashville. And so I was going to en route to that destination, and he said something about, oh yeah, coming down here to Nashville with all the horns and who's. And I kind of thought about it, like, for whatever reason back then, I was thinking, steer and cattle and horses. And I think, looking back at it, he wasn't that, he was making a biblical reference of listen, kid, whatever you do, don't sell your soul.
Oh, that's perfect. You just led me into one of my questions.
Yeah. It was a very overwhelming experience, and it was something that I don't know, I'll always remember, because growing up poor, I've always told people, the best bit of advice I could ever give any artist is don't take your talent for granted, because there is somebody with half of your ability out there, but with 10 times more resources, who's going to take your spot in line, because that's how the world works. You're going to get stepped over and stepped on by, the aristocracy of the world. I used to believe in that old Irish proverb that, history was written by the winners and the songs were written by those who suffered. But it's become an all-encompassing thing now, where the winners get to control everything. They, as far as they're concerned, they won, but they did it really nicely. and nobody suffered. Nobody suffered because they won. Lost in Memphis was just kind of a song written about a master of the trade taking an apprentice aside and saying, listen, kid, this is how things work around here. And if you get out of this with any integrity and any resemblance of a soul left, you should be very grateful.
So here's the question that you kind of led me into unknowingly. So Robert Johnson the lore is that he sold his soul to the devil at the crossroads.
Yeah.
So if you're standing at those same crossroads, what are you there for? What are
Me?
you? Yep. What are you going to offer the devil? In other words, and not that's a metaphor. What is something that you haven't reached musically yet that you really, really are still reaching for?
Oh gosh, superstardom. Um, I love listening to Colin Hay talk about his music career and how, I mean, when I was a little bit younger, I experienced some pretty good success with the music that I was doing in one of the metal bands I played in. And I walked away from that for a while to take care of my family. I had a few children, and when my daughter Madeline was born, it immediately put me in dad mode, and I wanted to provide and make sure that she was taken care of. And I mean, she's 25, and she's still my baby. But as far as what the Country 102.5 wrote that my life was something that movies were made out of. A music journalist once said that my life made Hemingway look like a Cub Scout. I mean, I traveled to Nicaragua in the early 2000s and have pictures of me hanging out with AK-47s. I swapped the rebels and gave them a guitar to hold, and I took a picture of them, and they gave me a rifle that they said they had killed multiple people with. And I think if I met the devil at the crossroads, he'd probably give me a pass and say, listen, man, I've already pretty much taken everything away from you already. There's not much left to give. And I'm sure he would also say, and we don't want you down there because I sure as hell don't want any competition.
I had a cousin who used to tell me that the devil sent him back.
Yeah. No, I mean, I was married to her for a little while, so
ouch.
I got out of that.
Hey, so here's my first real oddball question for you. What is the best pizza that you've had because you're a musician? So you have to find a way to link the pizza to being a musician.
Oh, the best pizza I've ever had to being a musician?
Yep. So maybe on a way to a gig, on a way home, at a gig, at a recording session, something along those lines.
So here, this is cool. You know who? Now his name will come back to me. Richie Havens. Sorry, if you remember Richie Havens, he was a big Woodstock guy. And there's a place in Stockbridge, Vermont called the Wild Fern. And this gentleman, Rick Reddington, who was Richie Havens' opening act for a while, owns a pizza shop in downtown. Well, there really isn't a town. Stockbridge is more like a village. It's a village nestled in between two mountain ranges up here in Vermont. And his partner or girlfriend, Heather, makes these pizzas that it was a Vermont, like it was arugula, apple, maple syrup, and cheese. It was just this most amazing creation, and it was the bread was, she told me it was gluten free, but it tasted like the richest bread I had ever had in my life. And I performed there too. So that was Rick comes out and he's wearing his apron, and he's, passing out pizzas to the band and paying us for our evening. And I was just absolutely thrown back by how good this pizza was. So if you ever get a chance to go to the Wild Fern in Stockbridge, Vermont, I would suggest getting the Vermont pizza.
Very cool. All right, so we're going to take another break. We're going to hear from 7 Mile Run, their song Night to Remember. On the video side, you're going to hear the concert calendar, and we'll be right back. Hey everyone, it's Bill from Music from 412 with your concert calendar for April 18th through the 30th, brought to you by BuildTheScene.com and FirstAngelMedia.com. Tuesday, April 18th, 7:30 p.m. to 11 p.m. Mustard Service with Trenton Antle, The Roof, and Ryan Wright, the Hard Rock Cafe in Pittsburgh, $15. Friday, April 21st, 7:30 p.m. Heroes Bar and Grill Open Mic Night Series with your hosts Cheech and Redneck. Saturday, April 22nd, 2023, 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. It's the Regal Suite Pornos at CWP Beer Barge. Curtis and the Shakers at 8 p.m. 2023 CD release party at Moondogs, $8. Sunday, April 23rd, 2 p.m. Western Pennsylvania Blues Society's 18th Annual Blues Challenge at the Coriopolis VFW. Monday, April 24th at 6 p.m. Wigwam with special guests Dying Breed and the Cheats, $25. That is at Jurgles. 9 p.m. Broom. It's a live interview for the Pennsylvania Rock Show on musicfrom412.com. Friday, April 28th, 6 p.m. The Bacon Brothers, Jurgles Rhythm Grill with Mark Ferrari. 7 p.m. Sunny Days and the Weathermen, Helsinki Bus Station, and the Maple Waves at Squirrel Hill Sports Bar, $10 cover. 7:30 p.m. Heroes Bar and Grill, Katanning, Friday night open mics, and the host is Terry Lee Spencer. 10 p.m. The legendary Hucklebucks with 13 Bends at McGarvey's Bar and Grill. Saturday, April 29th, 6 p.m. Draxus Book of Life CD release party at Night Courts in Ford City. 7 p.m. Harry Von Zell's Creed Moores and Pink Gin Marabas at the Government Center. 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. at Moondogs, Bill Toms, and Hard Rain, $15 cover. 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. Medusa's Disco with legendary Hucklebucks at Squirrel Hill Sports Bar in Squirrel Hill. That is a $15 cover. Sunday, April 30th, 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. The PA Band Initiative Jam Sundays at Steamworks Creative. We also have your chance to win 2 tickets to select upcoming Drusky Entertainment shows, including Wigwam with Dying Breed and the Cheats on Monday, April 24th. I'm going to go ahead and cut that part off because I already talked about what shows were coming up. I have to there you go, Christian.
I got you.
So anyway, that is the concert calendar for the next 2 weeks. That will air both on the radio side of Music from the 412 and the TV side, just like this show does. Let me get us switched around here. There we go. Hey, so we're into segment 3. I'm going to throw some more oddball questions at you. Kiss once played in a bay in Australia to great white sharks, and Metallica once played in Antarctica. What is a non-standard venue that you would like to play at?
Non-standard venue. Well, I've played on the ocean. I've played on a boat. I would like to play in a natural amphitheater in the mountains. That would be kick-ass. Get that natural mountain reverb going. I might have to add that there is one in Stockbridge, Vermont at the Wild Fern that I didn't get to play at outside because it was winter. So I might be able to make that dream come true this summer.
Cool. So you mentioning winter brought me back to the band name, and I know I asked you this on 3 Questions in a Song, but what does Winter Kill Band mean?
So one of my good buddies is we go hunting, and he is a member of the Wampanoag Tribal Council. They're the Native Americans that met the Pilgrims. Basically, they're the reason why the Anglo-Saxons were able to survive and ultimately destroy North America. But he and I go hunting every year, and every year he kills a bigger deer than me. It's just in his blood. He knows everything about them, and he is just a master of the trade when it comes to that. But we were walking through the forest, and we came upon a group of about 12 dead yearling deer. That it was just the snow that season had just been too deep, and the coyotes were able to just pick them off. And he said something to the effect of how it was the worst winter kill he had ever seen. And I immediately just put winter kill and playing rock and roll to get through the winter together. And so the winter kill band kind of became a metaphor for killing off the winter until the warm weather returned, and that we could find other things to do than sit in a bar and listen to me sing.
Now you mentioned on the album that you use studio musicians. Is there an actual band that goes out with you?
Yeah. Right now I am performing with a gentleman named James Pesler, who plays drums. Jake Hill plays bass, and John Clark plays guitar. We have a keyboard player who comes and sits in on occasion when he's not working with the famous bands that he's with, and he's willing to take a pay cut to play with me. He usually shows up too. But I mean, he's played with Hall & Oates and a bunch of other players too, but he's a pretty humble guy. And then Andrew Koss, my producer, also plays drums, and he comes and sits in on some shows and plays drums. That's kind of like a little bit of the deal as far as compensation is. Now that we're coming out of the post-COVID world, he was like, this is a band and some songs that I would, like to, maybe put a little bit more effort into. And I mean, he's, like I said before, he's produced, John Legend and Alicia Keys and all these famous people. I think it's just nice for him to be able to play with a nobody like me, and be inconspicuous. I think it just makes him feel more like a working class guy.
What is something embarrassing that's happened to you on stage?
That's embarrassing. Well, I want to make a joke and say, don't ever trust a fart, but but that hasn't happened. So I'm a type 1 diabetic, and so when my blood sugars get high, I can take some insulin and it brings me back down. And the feeling of a high blood sugar is often kind of like your heart just races a little bit. You know what's happening. But when you have a really low, so I've had a very low blood sugar on stage, and that's when you almost pass out and you get a little loopy. And I'm not of the age yet where that should be noticeable. But there was a show where at the last song, I was just letting loose. And for about the last 30 seconds of the song, I was looking at my guitar player saying, "What the hell are we doing here again?" and he was like, "You need to drink a Pepsi." It was, that was pretty embarrassing. That was like an old man moment. But it was kind of like just a one-time thing. It doesn't happen a lot. It's just when I'm like really getting into stuff and exercising hard, running around the stage, things could get, Could cause my blood sugar to drop, but I'm good now.
Let's say you're leaving a gig and there's a DeLorean sitting there with its door open and a flux capacitor in the back seat.
Yep.
Where are you going in time, and what band are you going to hang out with?
Oh, but it's definitely going to be the Beatles. It would have to probably be like right around their last record, so I could kind of watch the process of them falling apart and trying to kill each other. I would love to have been there for some of their more dysfunctional moments, because I'm sure that they had a lot of them, but I don't think we get to hear about them. But that I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall.
Cool. So this next question, I call it the official build the scene question, because there's a whole storyline that goes with it, how it came about. But who is your Dave Grohl? And by that, I mean, who do you want to go up on stage with and perform one of their originals?
Peter Gabriel.
Someone just gave me that answer. I can't remember if it was on 3 Questions in a Song or on the PA Rock Show, but like in the last week, that's the second time that answer has come up. Why Peter Gabriel?
So, I mean, it's a huge toss up between Peter Gabriel and Tom Petty, but, as a working guy, Peter Gabriel, for somebody like me, should probably be a little taboo, because, I mean, his great grandfather was the mayor of London, and, he comes from a long line of sirs and lords and, people of privilege. But Pete has always seemed to have been able to overcome his lot in life to be able to look at the world from a third person's point of view and describe what he's writing about perfectly. I find his songwriting to be just about as honest as it can be. I think he's genuine. I listen really hard to music, and I think I can sometimes tell you right off the bat, this guy's full of shit, or this or this guy is, he's writing someone else's story. But I think Peter's written his own. I think he's done a very good job documenting his life. I got to see him play with Sting during the Rock, Paper, Scissors tour right before COVID. And I just find him to be genuine. And I find his bandmates, like Tony Levin is one of my all-time favorite bass players. They're just these people who have completely immersed themselves in their trade, in music. And that's something I've tried to emulate to a certain degree of, is writing honest songs about things that have actually happened to me. And completely immersing myself in it and making sure that I have lived every single one of my songs. So yeah, Pete's definitely up there. I mean, there's not very many artists that can bring me to tears, and he's done it on several occasions.
So I have just one more question for you. Where can the listeners and viewers find your music online?
We are everywhere. My name's spelled with a K. It's a Danish spelling. My father is from Copenhagen. So it's Christian Montgomery and the Winterkill Band. And, we're on Facebook. We're on Instagram, Twitter. You can find us at www.kmwkb.com. Usually the best way to get in touch with us is management at kmwkb.com. But we're on Spotify, YouTube. We're on Apple, Amazon, all of the streaming platforms.
All the usual suspects.
Yeah, all those places. Yeah.
But, hey, Christian, I want to thank you for hanging out with me on episode 667.
Anytime.
And what we're going to do now is on the radio side, we're going to hear from Guy Snowden and the Citizens with their song You're Gone. And we're also going to hear from A.E. Honeck, One for the Road. And then on the video side, we're going to hear Kurt Ziegler, Get It Right, Aristotle Jones, Bad Behavior, Dinner Bell Road, Walk That Line, Brian K. Schaefer, Supposed to Be Family, Craig Veltri, Making Noise on Music Road. And if there's time, we're going to fit in Mark Anthony, Your Scars Are Beautiful. This has been the Pennsylvania Rock Show, episode number 667. Hang out with me to watch some more videos here on Music from the 412, or to hear some more of the best unsigned rock and metal that Pennsylvania has to offer on the radio side. And as soon as I find my outro video, I'm going to play it. There it is.
This episode of the Pennsylvania Rock Show has ended, but be sure to subscribe to be introduced to more of the best unsigned rock and metal that Pennsylvania has to offer. Don't forget to rate, review the show, and we'll see you on the next episode.